We're getting straight into it today, no time to waste. We honestly don't know what Arne Slot was thinking going into this game with that lineup. No disrespect to the players, but a bunch of young lads were thrown straight into the fire, mixed in with others who barely get any minutes. With just one win in our last 6 and the league title starting to slip out of our hands, it made no sense to approach this match with such a youthful squad, especially against a Crystal Palace team that's basically been a bogey side for us. It felt like Slot just tossed this cup away, and the result, humiliating, right on our own pitch. That said, even with a strange team selection and some clear tactical missteps from Slot, there were still a few interesting things that stood out during the game. So let's take a proper look at how it all unfolded. Starting with the lineup, it was clear from the get-go that no one was expecting a strong result. Palace only rested 2 or 3 key players, so they came to play. Woodman made his first starting goal, and in front of him, we had a backline of Ramsey, Wataru Endo, Joe Gomez, Andrew Robertson, and Milos Kerkez. Yes, you heard that right. We played with 3 centre-backs in this one, with Endo on the right, Robertson on the left, and Gomez in the middle. In midfield, we had Alexis McAllister lining up alongside Trey Nyoni, with Rio Ngumoha and Morrison out wide, and Federico Chiesa leading the line up front. Now, before we get into where Slot got it wrong, let's take a second to give credit where it's due. Yes, the result was poor. The performance overall was disappointing. No question about that. But a few players still deserve some recognition, especially Rio, Ramsey, and Chiesa. Ngumoha might have faded as the match went on, which is fair enough, the kid's still a teenager. But early on, he was arguably our brightest spark. He kept trying to create something down the left and came close with a lovely strike that nearly found the net. You could see he wanted to make things happen. Then there was Ramsey. He reminded people why there was so much hype around him not long ago. He showed solid defensive discipline and kept making those overlapping runs to support Morrison on the right. It was good to see him play with that kind of energy and purpose. And finally, Chiesa. The guy was like a mad dog up top, constantly fighting for every loose ball, taking on 1, 2, sometimes even 3 defenders by himself. But honestly, it felt like Slot was punishing him with that role. The Italian was left completely isolated for most of the game. It was hard to watch. Now, that's not even the tactical issue we've been hinting at. It's not just about playing someone out of position or throwing in young or fringe players. There's more to it than that. See, Crystal Palace are known for their 3-4-3. That's their identity under Glasner. They've stuck with that shape and they've made it work. What Slot tried to do was mirror it. He went for a back 3 himself, and we stuck with that setup both in and out of possession. You can really see the downside of defending with 5 at the back in the second goal we conceded. Like you can see on your screen, and this was the case for most of the game, we defended in a 5-2-3 shape, which sometimes shifted into a 5-4-1. The issue with that setup is that you become too focused on man marking. Let us break that down a bit more. By mirroring Palace's formation, we ended up going 1-on-1 all over the pitch. That kind of setup can work if you've got your strongest 11 out there, but we didn't. And that's exactly where Palace took advantage. They were able to play quick passes through our midfield line, dragging players out of position with clever combinations. You could see it clearly in that second goal. One moment they're pulling our players toward the ball, and the next they're exploiting the space behind them. Nketiah drags Gomez out wide, Sarr slips through the gap, and just like that, the ball's in the back of the net. That goal, even though it came in the first half, felt like the one that killed the game. Now, if you take a step back and think about it, you can kind of understand why Slot made the decisions he did. He chose to start a weakened team, so in that sense, it makes some logical sense to defend with an extra body at the back. He's also struggled to find answers when playing his usual game against Palace, so trying something different wasn't the worst idea in theory. Given the situation, you could argue that Slot had his reasons, even if it didn't work out in the end. But there's something else we need to think about here. We didn't just defend with an extra player in the backline, we also attacked with that same shape. And that raises a few questions. So first, let's take a look at how we played with the ball. Here you can see the 3-4-3 shape we used in possession. We had 3 centre-backs and 2 high full-backs, or wing-backs really. This gave us a midfield line of 4, with Jurgen stepping into midfield in this sequence. Also notice how staggered that midfield line is. It creates passing lanes and opens up paths for quick combinations and exchanges. Just a couple of simple passes between a centre-back and a pivot were enough to invite a full press from Palace. From there, we tried to break out wide, using quick combinations on the flanks, while the more advanced players made counter movements, dragging defenders away and arriving into pockets of space. Chiesa dropped deep as part of that movement as well. That particular sequence ended with a foul in our favour, but what's important is what came next. We took the free kick quickly, and ynwa found himself in loads of space. That moment actually led to our most dangerous situation of the entire match. Now sure, it didn't work overall in the game, but it does make you wonder, is this back 3 something we're planning to use more often? Maybe not in the exact 3-4-3 setup we saw here, but something close to it. Take a look at the screen and let us know what you think. Could this be something we try more often when we have the ball? Imagine Jones, Gravenberch, or even Szoboszlai dropping into the back line to form that temporary back 3 during build-up. That would give us an extra man to play out from the back, and also help stretch the pressing lines of high-pressing teams. It could make our build-up more stable, and give us more control in the early phases of possession. We could even take it a step further and go with a 3-5-2. Wirtz could be the free roaming attacking midfielder, with Ekitike and Isak as the 2 strikers up top. That setup might actually be the best way to get the most out of all 3 players, but of course there's a catch. It would mean keeping Mo Salah on the bench, so maybe this isn't for right now. Maybe it's a plan for the future. So yeah, a lot to think about from this game. The result wasn't what anyone wanted, and the performance left plenty of questions, but there were still a few interesting ideas mixed in with the chaos. Slot got a lot wrong on the day, from the starting 11 to how we tried to match Palace, but you can kind of see where some of the thinking came from. It didn't work, but it wasn't completely random either. It also gave us a little glimpse into what the future might look like. Whether it's experimenting with a back 3, finding new ways to build up from the back, or testing different combinations in attack, there's something here to keep an eye on. Especially with the younger players getting minutes, there's always that chance that 1 or 2 of them start forcing their way into bigger roles. We're not saying this was a game to be proud of. It was frustrating to watch, a humiliating home defeat, and it felt like we just handed the cup away. But it's done now. We're in our worst run in years, and that's the reality. What matters is how we respond from here and what we learn from it moving forward. Anyway, let us know what you thought of the game, the lineup, and the tactics. Do you see this as a one-off or the start of something new? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.